Hey, Johnny, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Not much, brother. I can hear you good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect,
Um,
perfect.
dude, you gonna be standing this entire thing?
Yeah, I probably will. I know I got a bench right here. I'll probably sit down, but man, I hurt my
I
back
got
about 2 weeks ago, bro. So I've been
I
nursing that back,
got you.
brother. Heck yeah, man.
I was like, man, you are gonna be crazy as hell standing up for this entire thing.
How long does it
So
usually last?
we just went live. So this goes for hell, man. Like we normally run for about an hour.
Oh, that's cool.
And then um yeah, we plan for an hour, but we
That's cool.
typically go over a little bit, right?
No worries.
So because we'll do some questions here and there, and then but for the most part, man, like it's more often than none we go over. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, no worries.
But it's all good.
No worries at all.
Jake, Jake, you got to do
What's
something
up?
about this right here, man. You got to get you some just for men or something, because it's.
Hang on real quick. I fucking refuse. Yeah, what's up, Sarah?
Oh man!
No, the
All right,
trophy's off
yeah.
already. He's good. All right, bye. Bye. So we winning on tablets, bro, with 250 Honda motorcycles. We done finally got them motherfuckers to be like, man, this is pretty fun to ride a motorcycle around the yard all day. I'm like,
Heck
I don't know
yeah.
about all that. All right, so Jake, this is Johnny.
Johnny
Um,
lying his way
yeah.
into Ranger School,
All right.
making
All right, what's going on,
making
brother?
motherfucking orders. Hey, Johnny, let me tell you a story real quick. Hey, well, I'll tell you this when are we live already?
Oh, we've been live.
Okay, Johnny, let me tell you something, bro. When I heard that story, I
uh,
said that's a motherfucker that can get it done.
oh yeah, that's
Okay.
it, brother. That's it.
So I was at the Naval Academy and I didn't get SEALs.
Okay.
And after Naval Academy, you get a month of leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I take that month of leave, my school gets pushed back 2 months. I can't get to my ship until damn near the November, December when it deploys. I need to get this surface warfare officer pin in 1 year. So I
Okay.
said, I go down and see the training officer. Hey, man, I want to give up my basket leave. I want to go to school. There was a class that started. We graduated on like a Thursday. There was a class that started on Monday. He said, I'm sorry, I can't put you in that class. It's against the rules. Okay.
Rules meant to be broken.
So then I waited. I went and I looked at there was a book in the main office that had the officer's leave schedule in it. I said, oh, he'll be on leave in 2 weeks. Boom. Roll right up into that motherfucker's office. Called down to Bupers. Hey, this is Lieutenant Brown up here, United States Naval Academy. I got this crazy ass midshipman in my office. He want to change his leave, change his school to that first class. The guy on the other was like, what? That don't make no sense. He's like, I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't listen. He's like, what's his name? So I, hey, give him the name, social, give him the social, right? And the guy's like, look, man, this is easy. I hear him typing. Shh, done. He's in that first class, man. This is crazy. I said, I know, but this is what a kid want. Ain't hurting nobody.
I
He gonna
love
get
it.
30 days of free leave. So boom, get the shit changed, go back to my room, right? Don't think nothing of it. The orders come out. We in class. I'm in ship driver class in the Naval Academy. Ben been there. And the orders come out. My orders say report Newport, Rhode Island, June 1st. The teacher's like, oh my God, these are wrong. These are wrong. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got orders for June 1st. Like, we got to call the people. I said, hold up, man. I ain't got nothing to do. Like,
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
go.
find that. Like, no, let's not get crazy here. Then the teacher was like, no, you got to get your 30 days of leave. I said, listen, man, I'm a homebody. I ain't got nothing to do. You know what? Hey, that sounds good. I'll go to school on June 1st. And then I finally talked him down out of it. And then after class, he pulled me up again and was like, hey, man, I think something wrong happened to your orders. I said, well, look, I really don't care, man. I'll be happy to go to Newport, June 1st. So
That's awesome. I love it.
yeah,
That's good stuff.
you.
All right, that's it, bro. Making it happen. That's making it happen.
Man, just make it happen.
Sometimes you have to. Hell yeah.
Hey, Johnny, did they steal your character on Lioness?
No, I hadn't watched it yet, but somebody told me to watch it. I hadn't watched it yet.
Yeah, the black dude looked just like you, bro.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check it out.
What's up, Ben? How you doing today?
Hey, good, man. Good. I'm just celebrating that win. Navy beat Oklahoma today. Pretty
Did
proud
they
of that.
really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they
beat 'em.
did.
They beat 'em.
Oh shit! Let's
Dude, what's
go
his name?
Navy
QB.
football.
That what's the QB for Navy had a 98-yard run.
Yeah.
Can you imagine he beat the DBs from Oklahoma in a foot race?
Man. Dude,
Good
so let me
Lord.
tell y'all what's going on. Like, are you familiar what's happening with Navy and Army and Air Force football right now, Benny? Like talent-wise?
Not really, man. I mean, that's we're doing pretty
the
well.
The portal has caused major Division I football to take between 5 and 8 kids a year. Normally, they were taking 25 high school scholarship kids
You
a
mean
year.
scholarship guys? Okay.
So now the Naval Academy and Army and West Point literally have the best talent they've ever had. Because they're taking 120 scholarship kids a class right now.
I mean,
a class, Benny.
A kid, Job Grant from played football with my son in high school. This dude's all met. I saw him in one game single-handedly win, in the WCAC out here. Very competitive. That's where, Caleb Smith from the Bears comes from, Gonzaga out here. And I saw him single-handedly score 4 touchdowns, interception return for a touchdown, kick return for a touchdown, QB sneak for a touchdown, and then he threw for a touchdown. You know what I mean? And he's a linebacker at Navy. I mean, this dude is legit. Job, if you're listening, go get him, man. He's a sophomore.
Yeah,
Look
bro.
for him in the future.
I think it's awesome for the academies because we were normally at a massive disadvantage, and now it's like
100%.
Now they're losing guys sophomore year, obviously, but
yeah,
I mean they competing. They beating
No
Oklahoma.
doubt,
shit,
man. Beating Oklahoma, that's a watershed event.
and they beat Army last week. How about that?
That's
one?
even better. Even better.
I'm rooting for Army, but still, I ain't mad when Navy.
I'm always rooting for Army too. They're playing each other though. I want Army and Air Force to crush everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, the chat is saying that Aaron is now black. So if you don't mind, Johnny, please let the people know who you are. If you're watching from GreenberryChronicles.com, welcome to the live. If you're on the War Room podcast, welcome back. Johnny, please let the people know who you are, military service, our background, and then we'll jump right into the first story.
All right, so I'm Johnny MF Glenn. I'm pretty sure you know what that MF stands for. But I came out of 3rd Special Forces Group, did 21 years there, all on ODA, served with Jay there in 3rd Battalion. I grew up in 3rd Battalion. I did about 11 years in 3rd Battalion, and then I went to 1st Battalion as a warrant. And I finished up my career right there at 1st Battalion and then retired. And other than that, I've just been living a retired life and doing some contracting work. I did some PSD work for Senator Sinema out of Arizona, and then worked with the different companies and contracts, training Green Berets, training Marshall guys, training SEALs in level 3 type stuff. And now I'm just kind of nursing this back injury, trying to get well, getting ready to run and fly across America in May with Team Red, White, and Blue. But other than that, that's who I am, man.
Johnny, what you got going on with your back?
Dude, I was loading a trailer the 23rd of November, the day before Thanksgiving. I got a little small farm, and I was going to pick up hay for my cows. I picked the trailer up, and I got a lifted Tundra. I got it almost to the tongue, and then I leaned back with it to get it up. Ooh. And I pulled something on my lower back. I dropped the trailer instantly, went home, put some ice on it. Then I got up Thanksgiving morning, and I go, I'm just sore. I just need to run. I ran about 5 miles, and that's the worst thing I did. So I stayed on the couch for about 9 days. I couldn't even move. And then I finally got to the doctor, and they gave me a Toradol shot, gave me some steroids, and now I'm finally getting to the point where the back actually started relaxing. I can bend, I can turn now, so I'm feeling pretty good.
I tell all veterans, man, I got them stem cells in Mexico.
Yeah.
And in my discs, and that shit helped my whole body. Like my right leg was going numb every day, and now it hasn't been numb in like 18 months.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just throwing that out there for you, man.
I might check it out. But right now I'm feeling, like I say, I was on after they gave me a Toradol shot, I was on steroids for 5 days, and then I went on Toradol for 2 days, and now I took like 4 Motrin a day just to get it all out of the system. I feel pretty good. I ain't done nothing in 2 weeks, so I feel pretty good.
Check out that BPC, man. Check out that BPC, body protection compound. Is a peptide. Okay. That's like, I personally use it. I've been pain-free. I've been had knee problems, hip problems, back, everything, had all the degenerative disc we all have, for after rucking around and everything. But literally it's I think that made my life so much better, just to sleep without pain. That's a big
It's called BPC.
BPC 157. It's a peptide.
157 peptide.
Yeah, BBC 157. Yeah, it's and I mean, I think I know someone else that I was talking to in my gym once said his friend used to be like a big baseball player and was messing around with his kids. He tore his bicep an 80% partial tear, went on BPC, and he like repaired it in, I want to say like 2.5 months, completely healed. The doctor's like, what the hell happened? How did you do this? How'd you heal it? So, and I don't think I've researched a lot. I haven't seen much on like side effects or anything like that. I think it's been around for a while, but something to check out. I mean, you can take it for a month or two. It might really do the trick for, fixing your back up.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I tell you what, Johnny, I'm glad that shit happened because you need to stop fucking running, dude. Johnny's like the David Goggins of the Green Berets.
Hey, Johnny,
this dude runs so many miles.
I ran 3 miles
Wait,
today.
we could have a challenge here. This could be a big
Black Army versus Black Navy. Let's go.
I've been trying to do that, man. Let's do a little thing. We can do something to raise some money for soft, man. I'd love to.
Along the way, it's through the woods, and along the way, we come out with pugil sticks. We attack you guys.
I like it. Let's do it. Hell yeah, I like that.
Jake, you said you ran 3 miles today. This dude will get up and go run 150 miles for no fucking reason.
Listen.
I'm like,
I'm 53. How old are you, Johnny?
I'm almost 50.
50 years old. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
I'm a fat dude. I'm 5'7", 170. I mean, 230. If I was 5'7", 170, I might be able to run somewhere also. But hey, real quick, Johnny,
like
how many head you got? How many head of cattle you got?
I got 12. I got 12 cows, 15 goats, 6 donkeys, 5 chickens, and 1 mule, and 2 horses.
I'm going to get me some goats tomorrow, man. Hey, we got to get you in contact with Jamerson. Jamerson sold 350 head this year. Did you know that, Jay? You know Jamerson moving cows too? That motherfucker got cows up there in North Carolina.
Jamerson, what's his last name?
I don't. Jamerson travels. He's a YouTuber.
Dude, former Marine, crazy old dude.
Yeah, hook me up with him, man. I'd love to meet him and talk to him.
Because he moved cows.
Of course.
He sold me 350 cows. I said, I did the math real quick. 350 times 1,500. Okay? Like, we talking about he moving. And he got to have 500 head up there if he's selling 350 of them a year.
Oh, yeah.
Lord.
At least.
That's big right there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But, all right, folks, welcome to the War Room Podcast. Like as you guys can see, Aaron is not here with us. He's got some other obligations. But he's here with us in spirit, right? Today we're going to cover a couple of topics. We're going to talk about Christmas, New Year's resolution, holiday traditions, and then we're also going to cover PTSD, right? And also suicide. That's a big topic that I want to hit on today. Again, there's a couple articles about this, about even though the Army and the military has been doing all these different things, the numbers or the levels still hasn't dropped as far as the amount of veterans that are taking their lives, right? So I just want to pick you guys' brain and try to figure out why that is. And then coupled with that article is another one that speaks about privacy when it comes to seeking mental health help, right? Because a lot of people are afraid that, hey, if I go see this, my commander's going to see it, and there's second and third world effects. So since we have our commander in the house, we'll check with Ben and see how he circumvent that when he was in charge. All right, and then we're also going to talk about the Navy. What's up with the Navy, Jake? Shooting down their own planes. All right, so I want to get your feedback on that.
Fire on it. Hey, real quick, man, we got a fire in the chat, man. Nate from Valhalla VFT wants to make sure that we tell Ben that he's a bitch for getting on HGH and that BPC 157 is for chicks. That's from Nate from Valhalla. He wants you to be
on HGH.
I don't know.
Hey,
I know I'm on.
You know what?
I know I'm on HGH, so I'm in that same category. So I'm right.
I'm on HGH.
I tell you what,
270 right now, dude.
I tell you what, let's switch it up.
Not HGH. Damn, Nate.
Let's switch it up. Let's make this a 5-some. Nate, if you could hear us, go in and jump in.
Come on in, Nate.
You have the link.
Hey, we gotta send Nate the link. Nate's like me. If
He
he don't
has
get
the
the
link.
link, he ain't getting in. So let me go get the link for Nate and shit.
All right, Nate, I see you in the chat. Come on and join us. We'll make this a 5-some because when it comes to mental health, like I'm always, interested in what others have to say. Because like I said, just hell, Johnny, 10th of December. I don't know if you were tracking, but the former team sergeant from 1-2, which Nate used to be on the same team I was on before I got to that team.
Yeah.
He fucking killed himself in a drop zone and shit, right?
Yeah.
So, So we'll talk about suicide. We'll also talk about the Russian plane that, or not the Russian plane, but the plane that got shut down Christmas Day.
Azerbaijani.
Yeah, and the Russians are catching heat for that one. They're saying they didn't do it. But the international, yeah. So everybody thinks that it was them, right? So we'll jump right into the first one. Christmas. How was you guys' Christmas? Jake, we'll start with you.
Christmas was fire, man. I did my podcast. I talked about a couple things. Like I don't slow down for vacations, Christmas, birthdays, 4th of July, none of that shit. I'm gonna get my workout in. I'm gonna do my work. I got a young lady here that's in the middle of boot camp and she's going to OCS. So I've been taking a turn on her. So we got some shooting in with the M177 Crossman BB gun. And I finally got my kids on a motorcycle and them dudes is actually fired up. So that's a win.
Nice, man.
That's what's up. Ben?
Yeah, man. Just, honestly, just like Jake, I was, Christmas, got my workout in, was grinding, getting some work done, man. Then hung out with my kids, for like the second half of the day and just had a great time doing that. That's always the best thing for me. Just, just being together, eating some food, watching some shows and, doing whatever. But that I'm the same way too. I think it's like, I'm so much in my process. I'm so much in getting stuff done that I feel at peace when I'm working, and I get things done. Otherwise I get squirrely, man. If I don't work out and I don't accomplish at least one thing a day to move towards my goals and all that, just how we're built at this point, I think, how we're trained, how we're built, all that, then it's harder to relax for me. So, but it was a good day. It was a great day. Fantastic. Loved it. Best.
Johnny?
I drove down Wilmington, man. Me and my ex, we finally got together with the kids. So my son, my two daughters came down. My son brought his girlfriend. He's 25. So we just hung out in Wilmington on the beach, man. And then I got up, the day after Christmas, drove my daughter to work. She had to be to work in Fuquay. Then I went home, and that was about it, man. I went out to the farm, hung out with the animals, gave my dog a rotisserie chicken, and that was about all I did, brother.
Yeah, dude, I was talking to Jameson, and I don't know what it is about this particular Christmas, but I was sitting on the couch and I'm looking at my kids, open gifts and the joy that's coming, because my son is 7, my daughter's 4, right? And I'm just like, I'm watching them and all the joy that they're getting from opening gifts and how happy they are. Like, I don't know if it's a phase that they go through where they just are in love with mommy and daddy at this phase, like, we love you, mom, you're the best dad. And I'm just watching them and I'm like, you know what? This is what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, watching them open gifts and seeing the happiness on their face. Like, that's what made me happy. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the gifts I got, which I'm appreciative for, but majority of my joy came from watching them open gifts and just watching them enjoy themselves, right? Like, maybe it's a phase because I think all you guys have older kids except for Jake and I. But dude, I had a blast, man. This was probably one of my best Christmas.
I was going to say too, sure. but sometimes it's really true. Like they say that, giving is better than receiving. Like, I did my my gift card giveaway on Christmas Eve. Super fun, man. Super fun. Just like, doing the random comment picker, contacting the people that won, posting it. And I was like, damn, this is really great. It was really fun. People were super grateful that won. It was very cool, So, and the same thing, I mean, the kids, as they get older, it's a little different with the same magic, but they love receiving things. They love getting it. And it feels good to give it, so.
Absolutely. Going into 2025, what are you guys most excited about? I guess, what's you guys' New Year's resolution, if you guys still have those?
Yeah,
Johnny?
Good.
I'd say for me, man, 2025, I just want to try to eat better. Because we're going to do this run across America, 3,200 miles. So I'm trying to, just get my diet right.
Sorry, what now?
We're doing a run across America, 3,200 miles. There's 12 of us, so it ain't going to be too bad.
Fuck that shit, John. Please continue.
but that's it, man. Honestly, I just want to, 2025, I told myself I'm going to eat better, and then I want to try to get a schedule. Well, not really a schedule, but just kind of get my life in order a little bit, because I'm kind of, me, dude. I don't do calendars. I don't do schedules. I'm just a free will, man. Just go get it, So I'm just trying to.
Johnny just goes.
Yeah, I just go. I'm just trying to have a schedule, man.
Hey Johnny, I gotta back you up, man. It's only 266 miles. That ain't horrendous.
That ain't bad at all, dude.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that. That ain't bad.
I don't think so.
Not bad.
No, thank you. Ben, 2025, what are you most excited for?
Yeah, I mean, just continuing to build. Got some, business goals I'm working on, obviously some personal development goals. Just trying to, see how many people I can reach, how many people I can help, and really trying to grow and scale my current business and lay the foundations for the next phase as well too, and just yeah, I mean that's probably what I'm most excited about. Just getting in the grind and accomplishing some things, providing some more products and services out there that can reach people, help people, and honestly pushing myself as a leader as I expand the team and stuff like that, and jumping back in the water with leadership and complex problems and things like that. So it's good. It's all good.
That's amazing. Jake?
Man, I'm doing the exact same thing Ben is. I think we all on the same page, just trying to grow what we got, right? Like YouTube is kicking off. I kicked off that new pottery channel.
So cool.
I'm fixing to go get me some goats. So like I may go get some goats tomorrow. I got to call the dude about, I'm going to try to get 4 goats. I may start a goat channel, right? Like there's some animal channels out there with like 50 million followers following the goats around, right? Like I'm going to give me a GoPro and put it on the goat. You can watch what the fucking goat does all day. So we're just growing, bro. Hopefully we're gonna kick out this TV show with the crew. We just got a lot of stuff going on, man. I just gotta make sure that I keep staying present with my kids. I have a tendency to disappear at times, and like I gotta raise boys, man. And that, at the end of the day, each one of my boys needs something different. We were in a wind tunnel today. All 3 of them flew by themselves. And we're not zooming around, but they was doing okay in the wind tunnel. So like, to me, I was like, okay, that's what happens when they get, 3 shots at the wind tunnel inside of a week. We all know how much that costs. So I need to find a different little gig. I just wanted them to fly around on their own, so.
Yeah. I think for me, I just got done with, and this is the first year that I actually did it because I didn't know, like, you don't know what you don't know, but I read a book that read about like everything that you do as it relates to your family and also your business. You have to be deliberate and intentional, right? So this year, for the first time, I did family planning and I did business planning, right? As far as, hey, for 2025, these are the goals that I want my family to accomplish, right? Everybody's going to have a passport and we're going to take our first overseas trip, right? Because I want my kids to travel the world. Hell, I want to travel the world aside from the shitty places that the military sends us, right? I'm like, I want to do that. So got done with my family planning. And then I did my business planning, right? And then for me, of course, real estate, social media, I'm still trying to figure that shit out. You know what I mean? It's a hard nut to crack, but with Jameson's help, we're slowly figuring it out, right? Because it's easy to fall into the social media trap of, just doing dumb shit for views as far as, making people laugh and all these different things. But I'm like, man, like I want to stick to the mission, the purpose, but I also want to grow, right? So I'm constantly learning, constantly reinventing myself. And I'm hoping 2025 will be, it's going to be a good year, right? So I just hope that it's the same for everybody. Not only on the panel, but everybody watching also. And again, guys, if you're watching and you have questions, please just put it in the chat. If it's super chat and we miss it, just comment down there because I don't know if Aaron is in the chat. I know Peaches was earlier. Just let us know, and then we'll do our best to get to it. Ben, how's the recruiting going for you?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Good so far. I'm just putting my feelers out there and, talking to a bunch of people. And really the biggest thing is defining exactly what I need and when I need it, So I'm definitely a hire slow, type of person, and I'd say I'm hire slow, fire fast. So, but that being said, I mean, I think it's obviously, a 3 to 6 month probation period, and coaching, counseling, letting people learn, and then, going from there. And, And if they can't do it, they can't do it. So that's what I'm looking at for 2025. You know, I've obviously all of us have a lot of experience in leading people and in task, purpose, standard, all those things like that, and how you do that, bullet descriptions, job descriptions. So definitely working on that. But then the next thing is, you know, funding war chest, keeping money within the business to you know, keep it circulating for growing the business and not, you know, not becoming your personal bank account. The business doesn't become your personal piggy bank. It's, you know, circulating within the business to create more of the business and scale more. That's a discipline in of itself. You know, when you are, you know, an entrepreneur, obviously you don't have a board overseeing you or things like that. Then that's why it's good to get advisors too. But yeah, that's the kind of all-encompassing view on the hiring people and all that. Another question for you guys though, I got to take a look at maybe getting some horses someday. You guys know anything about getting horses? I want to get some horses someday.
What kind are you trying to get though? Because horses are like
kinds that you can ride, I guess. Nothing like race horses. I want a fat old one for me. I don't want to get thrown.
That depends. I would recommend, depending on where you're at, man, probably just get a quarter horse. Get one, depending on, you know, I don't know how big you are, but, you know, it depends on how big your horse is.
Depends on the time of the year. It could be anywhere from 215 to 230.
Yeah.
Right now, 230.
So I got a couple of quarter horses. I got one quarter horse, and then I got a quarter horse Mustang mix. So I do ride ties on one of my horses. So I go run races with her. So
if she's like that.
Yeah. So you can do a lot with them, and they're great animals as far as like just for one, for company, and then two, like they understand you, they read you, you know, they depend on you. So they're great for therapy. So
that sounds great. I did a little equine therapy myself, man. It was very, very nice. Very nice.
Heck
very
yeah.
helpful.
But I will tell you this, man, for people jumping and getting horses, I tell them, just like goats, they're expensive, you know what I mean? But we make them expensive. You know, I don't make my horses expensive because I know people that buy bags of feed $100. Me, I'm gonna feed my horse basically grass, weeds, and whatever grows. It's a horse, you know what I mean? I don't put blankets on in the winter. I don't do all the horseshoeing and all that crap. It's a natural, it's an animal, you know. So I'll let it deal with the elements.
Hey Johnny, real quick, how are goats expensive?
It just depends on what kind of goats you get. You know what I mean? Like I got just big meat goats that I raise and sell for meat. I just had 6 little ones born, and I'll send you a video, man, of my setup. I got a pretty good setup. I can have them winter, summer, doesn't matter. I got heat lamps in the stalls, and then, you know, before you know it, you know, you got vet bills, you got feed bills. You know, you got to feed them during the winter. Summertime they can eat grass, but you know,
I'm in Texas, bro. It's always summer down here.
Oh, okay. Well, you're good then. So for Texas, just heat. You got to look out for heat and stuff like that, dry stuff, whatever you got for predators out there. You got a lot of coyotes, so I'd recommend if you're gonna, if you're gonna get goats, I definitely recommend the first thing I buy if I was you is a donkey. That's the first thing I buy.
Yeah, the donkey kills everything.
Oh yeah. So that's the first thing for you. Even go get your goats tomorrow. Go get your donkey first. If not, your goat's gonna be gone, brother.
Doug, I'm gonna send you my address, bro. If I bring a goat in this or a donkey in this motherfucker, they gonna run me out the association. I'm trying to hide 4 goats.
You can get your miniature donkey, bro. Get your miniature.
Oh, are they still vicious?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I might do that.
Lord.
I might do that.
Bring him right in the neighborhood.
Yeah, dog. Nate's having dog. I'm using the green space as a pasture. I got like a solid 900-yard by like 150-yard green space behind my house. I'm using that as a pasture.
Okay.
Now,
make sure you got good
Johnny,
fencing. What's up, brother?
Now, is it possible to just rent like a horse, so you don't have to?
You can. You can
rent it for like a month or two.
Yeah. So, Ben, if you want to, just board a horse. I don't know if you grew up with horses. Just find somebody you know got one, and if you got land, board the horse for 2 months. Just board it. Okay. And then see what the work you have to put in. You got to feed it in the morning. Some people feed in the morning, afternoon. Me personally, I don't feed my horse morning and afternoon. I usually feed her. I let her graze. Then during the wintertime, I put bales of hay out for them. And then I give them like sweet treats, grain during the day. I would board one.
Just checking out to see what it takes and all that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, just see what it takes to. And then if you got kids, especially like Jake, you say you got younger kids, it's a good chore for them to go out, feed the goats, grow up with the goats, watch them being born. Dude, my girls came out, 4 or 5 days ago. Like I said, I just had 6 little ones. They brought a friend out, dude. They wanted to start all day holding goats. I'm like, put the damn goats down. They're not toys. They're not babies. You can feed them, you come work with them. But I would totally recommend boarding a horse for a couple of days, a couple months, see if you like it.
Johnny, one of the best things I learned from growing up with a shit ton of animals at my house was death.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? like I tell people, like I had no regard with the raccoons, right? Like the
Mhm.
raccoons came and ate chickens and ducks and geese, and so like when I trap raccoons, I never felt bad about trapping raccoons.
No,
You know,
it's nature.
so yeah,
Yeah, and a lot of kids need to see that too. You know, like I know my kids,
Mhm.
they seen a lot of goats that was born and then a goat get attacked or a goat dies. And the first thing they ask, why did it die? Well, that's part of nature, you know. So it's a good, it's a good learning platform where you can show them. And then I had a goat break a leg, so my kids they got to set a leg, you know, set a bone, a compound fracture, wrap it up. I had my son cutting cows, so he's castrated cows. You know, my daughter's seen it. We've done sutures, so stuff like that you learn on a farm. They've done IVs in animals. They actually give me IVs, but when they do stuff like that on the farm, one it's trial and error. You learning as you go, but I think it prepares them for the world too.
No doubt. No doubt.
It's funny. So, and a young lady sitting next to me, right? That's going to basic, and I was explaining to her today, like when you grow up in households like ours, you get raised differently,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like my kids know how to. We got a staple gun in the house, right? Like a suture staple gun, because my father-in-law bought like 100 of them at this auction. So we practiced, you know what I'm saying? We practiced giving each other staples, not in the skin, but in an orange. And it's like, you know,
I was
it's
about
like
to say, you over there stapling your kids, Jake? Come on.
no. We practice on the orange, but it's just, you know, like we were in the wind tunnel today. Like you talking about, Johnny, they castrating cows. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they know what hard work is. Hey man, you got to go out there in the middle of the night because something out there messing with the animals. Take your
Yep.
410 shotgun and go out there. Try not to shoot no goats. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember my dad gave me that mission. There's a raccoon in the chicken house. Hey man, go outside, take your 410. Don't try to kill no chickens. I was terrified, right? Then I was out there too long. Here he come with a 12 gauge. Boom. Raccoon dead. He said, listen, man, you can't be sitting here. You got to be aggressive. He said the raccoon will eat all the chickens by the time you shoot them and shit. I was like,
Yep.
all right, Dad. Got you.
So, guys, for this Christmas, like I'm sure it's something that happens every year, but this specific year, I paid a lot of attention to all the different violence crimes that were taking place in the United States, and I'm curious as to you guys' thoughts as to why. Should I know just in North Carolina alone, in Spring Lake, at a gas station, some fucking douchebag set a lady on fire, right? At New York City, in a gas station, in a subway.
In a train.
In the train, another lady got set on fire, right? I guess there was no fucking Marine up there to fucking put that shit to stop, right? Because everybody's scared. And then in Chicago, I think it was pizza delivery man, got a $2 tip and he stabbed a pregnant woman to death, right? And this was all within 1 or 2 days of the holidays, right? Why do you guys think, for some reason, crime rate seems to go up around the holidays? Do you think it's because it's like, you know, folks that are down and out don't have anything better to do, or do you guys think there's some other type of psychological risk issues for why that happens? We can start with you, Ben.
I don't know, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my first answer. Is I think, I mean, I know why people get depressed around the holidays. They get, you know, stressed out. You know, we create such this atmosphere through the media and just in our culture as well too. And some of it's very good, right? Time for family, time for reflection. But you know, a lot of people are having financial troubles, and they're looking at this time of year as pressure to work more. Maybe they remember how much they haven't accomplished. They remember bad times. They're not around family. They wish they were. So all these things compound. You know, then compound that with, you know, some type of substance abuse. And the next thing you know, like this guy stabbing the pregnant woman to death, what was he on? Maybe he was on meth. You know what I mean? There's usually something like that tied to it. You know, people on meth act pretty friggin' crazy, right? I mean, people on different drugs, or maybe he's withdrawing from fentanyl or something. We don't know. Very hyper aggressive. So that's usually the case, at least from my understanding. But I don't know why it spikes so much with the violent crime. But except for those human factors.
Gotcha. Jake?
Yeah, I just say it's the stress of the holidays, right? Like I don't ever have no stress around the holidays because we don't give gifts in my family. Like the kids get gifts, but the grown-ups don't give gifts. And so I know, you know, you see a lot of people, they're trying to outdo the Joneses with packages under the Christmas tree, and then, you know, that money is tight, man. You know, I go back to third grade, got one pinball game, this big little plastic pinball game, changed my whole life, right? Like we ain't had no money. We had no money. Eating the same thing every day for 3 months straight. meat and potatoes, because we had a cow in the freezer and the potatoes were affordable. You know, it was stressful. Like my mom was crying, my dad was motherfucking people throwing plates through the wall, and I was just third grader trying to figure out why God fucked me and I only got one present. You know, so this is that time of year when the shit gets stressful. Now, I don't think it has to get stressful, because if you don't put no fucking credence on packages and presents and pleasing other people, you ain't got to worry about shit, right?
Yeah.
But that ain't how our culture is. Our culture is one of excess and trying to, you know, outdo the Joneses next door. And, you know, I just had somebody ask me why I don't have a new car. I said, because I'm fucking rich. You know what I'm saying? Like,
love it, man. That's a
you're
flex.
fucking
Love
poor.
it. Love it.
You got a brand new Honda or Cadillac Escalade cost you fucking $110,000. That Toyota Camry been paid off since 2013.
Boom,
you know?
baby,
Like,
boom.
I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, love it, dude. You look at Bill Gates and all the uber successful dudes, your fucking Elon Musk. It's like, dude, they don't have to impress anybody. You know what I mean? Like, they just wear whatever they want to wear.
They're beyond that. Nothing matters. They're
Yeah.
like, this is all stupid. You know,
Yeah.
It's like
I
influence,
agree.
power, mobility, agency, the agency to make change, influence people. That's what they care about.
Absolutely. Again, guys, Johnny Glenn, he has a YouTube channel called JMFG. Make sure you guys check it out. There's a lot of people acting in the chat. Johnny, what are your take as far as why people commit these heinous acts during the holidays?
I definitely got to agree with Jake and Ben on what they were saying. I think a lot of it is just we've gotten away from. I grew up in South Georgia, dirt poor, you know, and for me and my family, it was all about just being together. That's it. But nowadays, if you watch TV, anything comes on TV around Christmas time, like you said, is how many presents underneath the tree, you know, how many Apple devices you got, well, who got the new car. You know, kids are going back to school, 18, 19 years old now, and they're driving $60,000, $70,000 cars. You know, I drove a 74 Chevy, I think it was, that people had to jump me off, but nobody cared. But now it's all about, hey, what are you wearing? So I would recommend next year, if we can, start like a challenge, like, hey, get no gifts. And now you just see how much time you can spend. And then to caveat that, the second thing, I think, it goes into not just Christmas, but in our world in general, our punishments are too fucking lax. If you set somebody on fire, my punishment is your ass getting set on fire. Boom. Period. If you stab a lady, your ass getting stabbed. And pretty soon, I think people realize if I do something like when we were kids, you peed on an electric fence, it shocked the shit out of you. Guess what you didn't do no more? You didn't pee on that fence no damn more. You know what I mean? But nowadays we're like, hey, if you go do a crime, guess what? We're gonna parade you around. We're gonna put you all over the internet. You get 1 million views for doing something stupid. No, you do something stupid, we're gonna do the same crime you did. And I guarantee you, some of this stuff would slow down, man. And people, I think, would think twice before they start doing stuff. You know, I had a dad, like Jay said, your dad was throwing plates. My dad would pull his belt off, dude. He was 6'2", 6'3". He was a big man. You got one good ass whipping by him, dude, you stop doing stupid shit real quick. And so I just feel like during Christmas time, people are allowed to get away with stuff. Kids are stealing more because if I steal something today, you're going to spank my hand. Nothing's really going to happen. Cut that damn right hand off like they do in other countries. You'll think twice about that.
Hey, Johnny, I'm off with a 17-cent sentence. I guarantee you, if we started like executing the shit out of some people,
it'll stop, dude.
Be like China. You go to China, ain't a lot of crime in China. Just ain't.
Hey, but I'll tell you, man, believe it or not, here in the U.S., we enforce discipline and laws more than especially in Europe. I mean, I've heard quite a bit from, you know, people very, very close to me, right, that have told me some stories and that they just let them run amok. So and comparatively here, I mean, we need to do more, obviously, from what you're saying. Obviously, we need to do more. But, you know, we're doing a lot more than some of these other places where they just let everybody run amok and, you know, they do whatever they want to and they turn the other way and they're giving them handouts all the time, all this stuff. So, you know.
California. Yeah, California.
Only in America can Luigi be considered a fucking hero, right? Like they are praising the shit out of that dude.
That's nuts.
Like his GoFundMe for his trial, like he's raising money like nobody's business, bro. He's like an internet fucking like vigilante. People are praising this dude, and I'm like, he literally shot a fucking grown man to death. Yet he's being praised. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, Johnny. But all right, so let's jump into our first story. Right, NATO. I was trying to I'll buy some time to let Nate jump in. He'll pop in once he's ready.
His is
All right,
broke.
so
It's broke.
oh, his system is down for good. Okay,
Yeah,
too easy.
yeah.
Speaking of Nate,
Here he come again.
oh man, is
Motherfucker,
this
Yes, sir.
is this the one?
This
Hey,
new
Johnny,
computer, dude. I had to go into the browser options, give it permission.
Dude, that was me
As an
the
18
past two
Echo,
times.
I'm ashamed.
Brother, that was me the
But
past
Hey,
two
man.
times. It was horrible.
Hey, better late than never, Nate. That's all
Yep.
that matters. We done talked
No,
about
Ben,
goats.
I didn't say don't get on HGH. I said get on HGH.
Oh,
Get off
okay.
that bitch shit, dude.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, sorry.
I
Okay,
take the peptides, the ones that help you with all this stuff.
Yeah, I've heard BPC 157 is actually amazing
yeah,
for injury.
but I haven't done the real HGH. I heard that's pretty amazing.
Me neither, because that's illegal, so I would never do that. But
I just want to raise my hand and just let everybody know I learned to read in college. So clearly I was not attuned to the English language that came in text messages. I know y'all say I lie all the time and I didn't
Let
learn
me
to
just
read in
say,
college.
Jake, I gotta say something though. Listen, Jake will say all these things, but this dude is brilliant, man. Don't let him fool you. He's the mastermind. He's very
I know.
strategic thinker. He honestly, Jake is a brilliant dude. You listen to him, you're gonna hear a lot of amazing stuff come out of his mouth for sure. So I just gotta say it. You like to play that role sometimes. I know that, but
Dog, I'm reading this shit again, and I'm like, yeah, it does say get on
this dude was
HGH.
coding. He was coding in high school. Don't let him fool you. He pick up a book, a math book, and he can understand computers. He's pretty damn. It's no joke over here.
It's just that reading.
Don't let him lie to you. The only reason I know how to do any of this is because Jake was the one that introduced me and walked me through how to do pretty much all.
Yeah, Jake's full of shit. All right, we completely missed this super chat, but let me jump into it for you guys real quick. Jay, I think you said you lift. What are your numbers for bench, squat, and deadlift? So this is from my channel because I'm streaming on Greenberry Chronicles and also the War Room channel right now, right? So, all right. So right now my numbers are bench. I stay around 275, right? Why? Because rotator cuff surgery. All right, I had this done in 2018, and I'm not trying to go through that again. That's probably the worst surgery I've ever had, was having my rotator cuff repair and also my bicep reattached. Or
Damn. Do you have a tendinosis done?
Yeah, with the bicep, right? That shit sucked. So I don't want to go through that again. So now, so all my lifts are pretty light, right? Squat, I'm at 315. Again, I want to be able to run still, so I'm trying to not get too heavy. And then deadlifts, I'm right about 225 is where but again, I'm at the point of my life now where I did all the ego lifting very early on in my life. So everything that I do now is just to maintain size and also flexibility, right? Like I'm not lifting the world anymore. I learned the hard way. So now when I go to the gym and I see all these young kids lifting the world, I'm like, oh, been there, done that. You're going to pay for that later, buddy. But it is what it is, right? So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Make sure we don't have any more super chat here. We don't. Before we jump into the first topic, Nate, how was your Christmas, brother? And what's your New Year's resolution?
Oh, fuck, man. My Christmas was great, but, one of the first Christmases we've had, like, both sides of the family here being basically my first year retired, which is super surreal and weird. Like, because we've always been gone, whether it be living in Japan or deployed. So pretty awesome. New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I just try to stay disciplined all year round. I know that's such like a douchebag answer, but like, that's really just how it is. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. Last year's was give up smoking and dipping, which I did. So this year,
how hard was that shit, dude?
I did it cold turkey the day I retired. I told myself for 15 years that the only excuse I had for why I kept dipping was because the job was so stressful. And so I did it cold turkey the day I retired and never touched it since. It was rough for the first month. And after that, man, I looked at it as like an exercise in my own mental discipline. So I looked at it as like a challenge to myself, like how, I like to like preach about how disciplined I am, but I'm like, let's fucking see how mentally disciplined I actually am. Right. So that was kind of the challenge to myself, man. But yeah, great holidays, man.
That's
All right, awesome. All right, jumping right into the first story. The U.S. Navy cruiser shot down a Navy F-18 jet over the Red Sea early Sunday morning, U.S. Central Command said. Right, the F-18 was shot down by a weapon from the U.S. guided missile cruiser, the USS Gettysburg, after taking off from the USS Harry S. Truman aircraft on December 22. All right, now Jake, you're a Navy guy. I'm sure there's procedures put in place to make sure this doesn't happen. As far as I'm sure the fucking jet is marked. I'm sure there's sensors. I'm sure there's all sorts of technology to make sure like this doesn't happen, right? Like, do you think this was a fluke or sheer incompetence?
So there's a whole bunch of systems, first of all, but there's a major one that identifies all airplanes as ours friendlies on Aegis. And I'm gonna go out there and say we got missiles. It's identified. Everything that we shoot is identified with a marker. Okay. My guess is somehow they managed to take off without the marker on. All right. The cruiser is right next to, normally within 2,000 yards of the aircraft carrier. So there's a cruiser and a frigate. The frigate's there to take the missiles for the aircraft carrier, and the cruiser's there to prevent any missiles like airplanes, missiles, other stuff, but it's just bigger and more firepower, right? The frigate drives around emulating all of the signatures of an aircraft carrier to kind of duplicate it, but they're riding right together. So my guess is they said it happened right after takeoff. They've been weapons free over there for the last 6 months, and they have been shooting down a lot of missiles. Okay. And I don't know how long they've been over there, like on deployment. I don't know how many missiles they shot down. And the TAO and the cruiser was like, oh, there's a missile, push the button, scratch one F-18 right after takeoff. So
that's a big ND, man. That's a big
yeah, like you talk about it. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like the motherfucker had a negligent discharge, and it cost an $80 million airplane. Luckily, the two sailors were fine.
Minor injuries.
Whole bunch of people gonna get fired.
Now, Ben, there's also a counter narrative out there that the Houthis are also claiming that they were the one that shot the F-18 down, and the Navy saying no, that wasn't the case at all. Now, do you think the Navy would go as far as to claim that it had a big ND just to deny the Houthis a small victory of saying that they were the one that did it, or do you believe the actual story?
I think that just because of the way the freedom of information with the U.S. and the way the military is, and how, there's a greater, I think, benefit to telling the truth of what happened because it reverberates throughout the military as well. That skipper is gone. He's not. You can't recover after that, and so that reverberates throughout the ranks. Other commanding officers, other people coming up the ranks, and enforces the culture. It's also accountability. Accountable to the American people, to taxpayers, to Congress, everything else. They have to say what happened because it's so easy for all the intelligence agencies in the world just to look at a point of origin, what was fired, where did it come from? So they're going to know, if the Houthis actually did it, we would have had a counter narrative coming out from a bunch of different countries saying bullshit. That was, Iranian technology or Chinese or Russian that they gave to them. And then they'd have to, say, oh, well, this was some dastardly deed that was done. But no, so I just think it's credible information that it was an ND, big ND. It's freaking nuts, man, actually.
Nate?
Hey, man, I'm not going to pretend like I know jack shit about fucking ships or rockets or anything. So I'm just going to defer to Ben and Jake and just go with that. To me, my biggest thing was when I first heard this was like how often are you? Because, I think about it from like a tactical perspective of like, there's been times, man, like, downrange where like dudes come around the corner and I'm like, who is that? And I thought it was fucking Taliban, and it turned out it was my fucking buddies on the other element, right? So I'm always you're always hesitant to that. So for me, when I heard like you just straight up shot this fucking plane down, that's my question was like, what are the like the steps in place to make sure this doesn't happen? But like having Ben and Jake explain that like makes way better sense to me because again, I don't know how any of that stuff works. So I just defer to you guys on that.
Now, Johnny, if you were go ahead, Jake.
No, I just scrubbed it. They already relieved the captain, so they done
Yeah.
shot the F-18 down.
Okay. Now, Johnny, if you were a pilot and you were, getting ready to fucking go fly and you heard of this incident, like, where would your confidence be in your fucking fellow sailors? Like, as a pilot, like, would that do some type of things to you? Or, like, what are you thinking at this point?
I don't think
know
it
me
would.
personally, like, if I'm on a team and one of my teammates fucking shoot me, there's going to be some retraining and that dude's going to be off the team for sure. But that's going to do some things to everybody else in that fucking team room as far as, hey, we need to take it from fucking 100 miles an hour to like -10. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts?
It's like Nate just said too, like Nate was saying about his teammates, you come around the corner, you don't know, but also you know what your teammates have done. And I would like to think if I was a pilot, I would know everybody on the ground, just like I've had pilots come meet our team, because they go down, they know who's coming to fucking get them. So I would like to think that pilot knows most of the guys on that ship or wherever he's taking off from. He knows them, and he knows they're confident and they're competent and they can do their job. So I don't think it would affect the pilot as much. As more as me, I'd be worried about equipment for you more than I would the people. You know what I mean? Because like Jake and Nate, Ben just said, we got too much fucking technology for an $80 million plane to take off and we shoot it down. Way too much technology. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Like, you can track me. If I go do something wrong, you can track me down to the foot, but we're going to shoot down an $80 million plane? It just doesn't sound, I don't know, it sounds a little shady to me. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'd like to talk to the first PFC on that plane that's pissed off on the ship. He'll give you the fucking truth. He'll be like, hey, you want to know what the fuck happened? I'll tell you what happened. Hey, that first PFC that don't give a fuck, he's getting ready to ETS, he'll tell you what happened. He's on Instagram right now. Everybody scroll. Hey, just go to Instagram right now. Find a PFC on that shit. Read what he puts, and that'll be the fucking truth.
Dude, they're River City right now. River City, meaning they don't release, I don't know. I think it's a Navy thing, but it's like, where they don't have any emissions.
Yeah, we call it going black on
shut your shit off. You're not talking to anybody.
Yeah,
you're on that ship. That captain is the friggin', the emperor, and there's nothing you can do. Jake knows more than I do, but that's
someone forgot to change a 9-volt battery. That's what's going to come down to. Okay?
For $80 million.
Let me say this because I'm gonna put it in perspective because I hashed this out a couple months ago. So naval aviation is dangerous as all get out. Okay, like 100, they've lost 198 pilots and Rios in the last 5 years. On any carrier deployment, they're losing normally about 5 sailors, whether that's pilots, guys on the flight deck, or just an injury that happens. They're having 5.
Is that death, Jake?
5 deaths, normally a 6-month deployment.
Wow.
So you'll have maybe 2 suicides and 3 people getting killed. But if you have a helicopter go down, something like that, it'll be more, right?
Marine aviation was the same way, going underway with the Marine Expeditionary Unit. It was the same. I was like, holy shit, man.
Same way. Like ship operations are not safe, okay? No. And so what I would say is, like, I'm going to tell you exactly what them 2 pilots are saying. Woo! Get me a new plane. Shit. We dodged the bullet today, Joe.
Some different cats for sure, man. Those guys are different cats.
Pilots got big balls, man. Pilots thinks that motherfuckers are invincible. They all Superman. So them F-18 dudes, they like, yo, jock me up. You know what? Y'all do what you do. Let me text my F-18 dude right now and find out what happened. I'll come back. I'll come back with a little bit.
Jake's over here name dropping.
Yeah,
friends with F-18 pilots.
Yeah,
well, I went to the Naval Academy.
No big deal.
Like I went to the Naval Academy. Ben got fucking F-18 pilots in his Rolodex too.
100%,
one of my young kids is at an F-18 squadron, and I asked him last week. He kind of clammed up, but I'll ask him right now what really happened.
I got some concrete drivers in my Rolodex. Y'all need any?
Hey, Johnny, don't get it fucked up. My dad drove a concrete truck for fucking 7 years. I got all sorts of free concrete too.
One of my buddies was in the Blue Angels. He was like the captain of the Blue Angels, right? And I mean, he's just like you would imagine this guy to be, and just man, dude, fast mover, high voltage type personality. But he was telling me some of the stuff they do. They fly at each other like this, and they'd go last second, go like that, go past each other. And he was, great. He got out of it. Such a sad story, though. One of his guys, he was a mentor for, same maneuver at the air show, and they collided, killed both of them. crazy stuff, man. You know?
Fuck.
But,
Nah,
yeah,
I'm
that's my
good.
hats off
I'm
to those
staying on
dudes.
the ground.
Yep, no thanks.
I'm staying on the ground. Yeah,
I
we
don't
got
blame-
friends.
no
Yeah, and Nate and I have friends in low places, right? We're like
Right.
that's where all my friends are.
Yeah.
Just like the song, man. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So staying along the same line, right? So the Russians have a history of doing this shit. Allegedly, right? Don't fucking
Allegedly,
come get me.
hey
Pooh.
man, drop your dude's name from fucking what's the war group?
Oh, what's it? The friggin' the Wagner
the
group?
chef. Yeah, yeah.
The Wagner group. Yeah,
Wagner
dude,
group,
come
yeah.
on. They got a history. Motherfucker, it's their playbook. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
They were
History,
playing-
allegedly. They ain't got
They
no
were
alleged
playing-
history.
Shoot the plane
This
down.
is
or
the
he
playbook.
flew the leader away, or the Wagner?
That was an
the Wagner
accident,
group?
Jake. That
Yeah,
was an
they were
accident.
playing with a grenade, Jay. That was an accident.
Yeah.
They were playing with a grenade. All right, like who plays with a fucking grenade on a plane? Anyways, so
I
this
know a
was
guy.
pretty
Carries
fucked up,
50
man.
grenades in their rucksack.
Oh,
No, that's where I was going with the I know a guy, Ben, but you beat me to
Oh,
it.
Sorry.
Too soon.
Oh man, no. It's just right. It's just right. So Christmas Day, man. Like if you guys haven't seen this fucking video, it's some fucking like Final Destination type shit. Like the actual video footage of the plane, like coming down and hitting, and then fireball, and then half of the fucking passengers survived. Right, they're coming off the plane and everything, and then 38 were killed on Wednesday, Christmas Day, which is fucking horrible. And the plane went down in areas where the Russians have been combating drones from Ukraine. Right. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Because again, the Russians did it with Wagner Group. There's been other planes in that area that has been shot down since this conflict started. Right. And I know we have technologies. We literally just talked about them. Like, how the fuck is this still happening? You know what I mean?
Nate, you want to hit this one?
Yeah, well, I do know that area has been like a huge no-fly zone for 2 years out of the war. So, and this was like in the Kazakhstan region, as far as I got it from the reporting. So, man, it's one of those things of like, again, it's not us. You know, there's no doubt that I'm sure that they accidentally shot this fucking plane down. I don't see why they would shoot down a Kazakh plane on purpose full of civilians. That doesn't do anything, in my opinion, strategically for Russia. So I imagine it is like an actual fuck up. But I think it's one of those things, man. Like we were just talking about, how many missiles did that fucking cruise ship have to shoot down on that deployment, right? Is this one of those things where they're just like shooting down fucking drones every goddamn day? And like somebody just some E3 or private that's behind like, you know, the computer screen of that thing sees this thing on the screen and is like, yep, here's another one of 1,000 that I've done, presses the button and knocks that thing down. You know, it's hard to tell, but like for me, you know, it's easy for us as Americans to automatically, you know, Russia's the big bad guy. They're trying to murder civilians. I don't really see any strategic advantage of them shooting down a plane in Kazakhstan full of Kazakhstani civilians.
Kazakhstan, Nate. You can tell
Kazakhstan,
it's first grouper.
right.
Damn first grouper.
Yeah. I spent my time in Thailand, bro. I don't know.
He's like, them all them stands.
But you know what I mean? Like, to me, strategically, I hear all the conspiracy theories kind of about like Russia doing this on purpose. I personally don't see it. But then again, like, you know, maybe you guys have a different perspective on that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think they did this on purpose. Like, they don't have anything to gain. And they're, of course, denying it. Ben?
What did they shoot it down with?
It looked like it had bullet holes in it.
Well, it had bullet holes in it till,
Yeah, the picture I saw.
Definitely the fact that
holes.
the fact that it was coming in and flying and landing. So what, like, not like an SA-6 or some fucking like.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely,
that thing would have obliterated that plane. Those planes are made out of fucking fiberglass, right? So I imagine they like shot it down with some type of Dishka-esque probably.
gun. See, for me, that matters, because if it were something like a targeted assassination, let's say they had, you know, this was something where, you know, they're having the LTA authority or something like that to, you know, limited targeting authority to take out some, let's say there were some dissidents or some intelligence agents or something that higher command in Russia said, get rid of them. It's worth the collateral. I think they would have made sure 100% that there were no survivors, no chance of missing, and it would have been SA-6 or something like that. That's my opinion. or a bomb, or like, put a bomb inside it.
I thought I read somewhere that the airstrip was closed also, that they shouldn't even be trying to land there. I thought I read a report somewhere on that. I could be wrong.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. That might be it by itself.
Let's be honest. Them pilots that are flying over there right now are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to training. Because every real pilot is flying in the real world, because there's been a no-fly zone for fucking 3 years. So
yeah.
Hey man, I will tell you, I was making a trip out to Asia when this thing first kicked off, and I looked at the trajectory of my aircraft. It was a non-US carrier that I was flying on, and I was going over Russian airspace and Ukrainian airspace to get into my location. And, I dialed up some of my friends and had some meetings. I was like, what do you think? And they were like, if you can avoid it, do not take this route. They said, chance are 10% it's going to happen. But if it does, they're going to fill you in pretty good. If you survive, or if they land you. If they land you and they go on that plane and they're like, who's who, they're going to pull you off. And so anyway, I mean, it's, like you said, Jake, it's still, if it's denied airspace, you're definitely taking your life in your own hands in a number of ways.
That's fucking disturbing, right? And I know we have a shit ton of technology out there, so I don't know how this fucking still keeps fucking happening, right? You put privates in charge of shit, they're gonna do dumb shit. So probably a private that shut that shit down.
Hey, I want to ask y'all something. I've seen this video going around. I want to ask the 3 Army dudes, okay? Ben's a Marine, so I know it's true over there. Do y'all throw out all your fucking mattresses and jump off the fucking 5th floor of fucking barracks all the time? Like, I done seen like 15 of these fucking videos. That's something y'all do.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not something I do, but it's shit you'll see at the barracks.
And if there's snow, Jake, you don't even throw the mattress out. You just jump.
Yeah, that's not
dude. I remember.
But do you guys do the poncho parachute?
Yeah, I tried that shit. That shit don't work, dude. You just fall fast as fuck. It's like, that shit didn't work.
He says it doesn't work.
Hey,
that shit don't work.
Jake, there's a reason why there's metal bars on anything above the 3rd floor of a private.
Yeah.
Yes. But Jake, Marines do that shit too. Don't let
That's why I say I know the Marines do.
100%.
At the bottom of the food chain when it comes to brain cells.
Dude, I remember we had this fucking private. This was the second story, so it wasn't too bad. The old green sleeping bag, like they put the new private in there, and they were like they hung it out the window like a worm, and everybody was just down there watching them fucking lose his shit. Like they zipped the bag up and they held it out the window, and he's just in there just fucking moving around and shit. Yeah, I mean, privates have to do things.
Yeah, that's no hazing. That's not hazing at all.
No, dude.
Oh,
yeah, no. Dude, it's esprit de corps, right? It brings dudes together. Like,
tell you
that's
what,
all that
would
is,
come
right?
across my desk. I've been fucking scorch time, baby.
Most of the time, the leadership has, dude. Once it hits 5 o'clock on the weekend, like when I first got to my duty station as a private, like I went to Fort Riley, Kansas, and there's literally nothing to fucking do there, like nothing. As soon as, and I'm 19, from New York, dude. As soon as it hits 5 o'clock on Fridays, it doesn't look like an Army barracks at all. Everybody's all fucking put together. We're going out to the clubs. Like once it hits fucking 11 o'clock, everybody's coming back, and it's just a wild, wild west. The barracks is like no man's land with random fucking strange walking up and down the barracks. It's good time.
That's when you get the good word, Lieutenant. It's time for you to go. You better leave now.
All right, man.
Have fun.
All right, we'll jump right into this next question for you guys, right? So this one's about owning your story. This is a self-development question for you guys and for the audience also, right? So everyone has a personal story that shapes who they are. How has your special forces journey influenced the way you approach life, and what advice would you give someone struggling to own their own story? All right, we'll start with Nate on this one. Because Nate's freshly out.
Yeah, thanks for this super deep philosophical question here. I mean, I don't want to sound like douchey, but it's shaped my entire life, dude. It's shaped my entire adult life. Like everything I've learned about as being a man has come from what I learned about, like, not just from the teams, but like emulating my leaders and my mentors on the teams when I was an E5 and things like that. So, you know, maybe you learn those things all over the place, but for me, I like, and again, with a dad that's a Green Beret, right? Like, Special Forces has shaped my entire life and my entire character and my entire personality. And I don't remember who I was, maybe it was Jake or somebody I was saying this to the other day. It's like, you know, the running joke of like, you know, all my friends are Green Berets. You know, I barely like my wife because she's not a Green Beret. By the way, I don't mean that, babe, because she's right around the corner. But that's the running joke, right? Is like, you know, you spend so long in this regiment, man. It's like there's so many amazing, you know, men and dudes around you and people you work with. Like, it's hard for, how could this not shape your character, your life, your upbringing, your purpose? Like, a lot of what I learned about being a man, being a father, being a husband was like emulating the dudes that were 10 years ahead of me on my teams, like looking at them in awe about like how amazing they were. Like, well, my biggest mentor had like 6 combat deployments and was still getting ready for the next combat deployment with 6 kids and a wife and a great family relationship. And it's like, that's how you emulate that stuff. So for me, like, it's shaped everything for me. I can't even think of something that, like, of my life at this point, having just retired, that wasn't completely shaped from my time in SF.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I think it's more the same for me because I got to SF, you know, when I started my process at the age of 24. So, you know, for most guys, you know, we all know this, like, you don't even know who the fuck you are, but, you know, until you hit like 28, 29. At least that was the case for me, right? So in age 24, I'm still young, very influential. And then you get to, you know, the pipeline and you get the group, and that's who's raising you, right? Because we always joke around, you know, at least, you know, with all the different groups, hey, what team did you grow up on, or what group did you grow up in, right? Because that's literally what's taking place. Like, you're being raised by these monsters that you're around, right? Like, everything that I am today, I owe to these guys, from work ethic, right, to how I speak to people, to how I enter a room, right, to how I enter a fucking gas station, right, to how I talk to other men. It's literally based on my experience from the teams, right? So as it relates to people out there and their stories, you got to own it, right? Like, I own everything that I experience within group and everything that it's turned me into, the good and the bad, right? Like, every fucked up scenario that I was in and every fuck up that I had, that was all part of the package. There's no such thing as a clean SF career. Right? It doesn't exist. You're going to run across some type of adversity, whether it's losing buddies at war, whether it's fucking up yourself. Just know that, you know, like, the entire experience is what's going to make you the person that you are today, right? So I would say just own it, right? Know that it's part of the process, and then know that you can always, you know, take your experience and make better decisions as you go forward, right? Ben?
Wow, I mean, I can't really say it much better than you just said it right there. Everything you said really resonates with me. You know, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and anyone who tells you they're going to have this completely pristine career, unscathed, you know, either got very lucky or they're lying. You know, honestly, it's a lot of tough stuff. I mean, I faced a lot of adversity myself, and you know, just like you said, whether it's obviously losing people, you know, things in combat, but then challenges too. You have to prove yourself. Probably some of the hardest challenges I had were doing the things that I wasn't good at, you know. I mean, like no kidding, big time leadership stuff where it practically was so stressful that you know, it was as they say in like the submarine forces, taking the submarine down to crush depth, where, you know, it's like there's such stress, and it was stuff that I wasn't the best at. Probably, like, you know, a lot of like supply chain management, logistics. We were moving between 2 theaters, lots of accountability, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment, weaponry, all kinds of technology, sensitive items, things like that. And then at the same time, building up a new area for Operation Inherent Resolve. So flying all over the place, you know, Your sleep is getting messed up. Still have guys engaged in combat. I'm going out to see them. Just give you a quick snapshot. So definitely it was like that had pushed me harder than I've been pushed in my life as a leader. If you put me in the straight fight, said, let's go run, F3 AD, good to go. Very good at that. Very well schooled in it. Freaking Marine Raider, right? Marine Corps by itself alone is very good at all these things. All they ground into you. Now, all of a sudden I was being asked to become that thing. But then also, the manpower, training, man, equip, move, supply, logistics. I was like, holy shit, there's so much to learn. But I will tell you, again, I always say this, that in our hardest times and adversity, you're going to gain so much strength and so much growth, because what I do now in my consulting business is from that experience of, understanding these different supply chains, these different things like that. I can speak to, owners of companies, founders, CEOs, and I understand, have a good depth of understanding from some very hard lessons on what this stuff means, how you do it, budgeting, all those things like that. So, if you're going through a hard time, you're facing stress, or you're looking at something like, I don't want to do that because it's hard. Sometimes you got to step into it, own it, and you'll grow more than ever from that.
Dude, how crazy is it that the easy part of leadership for us is when fucking bullets are flying, right? Not necessarily like the backside support where it's like, oh, you gotta. Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that, man. There's a lot of truth to that.
That's fucking wild, Johnny.
I'm gonna go complete. I ain't gonna say 180, but almost 180. Because where I grew up at, I gotta say my biggest mentor, or the way my life was my father. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. My parents, dude, they instilled in me early hard work. You judge a man off his character's work ethic, not the color of skin. So when I came to SF, for me, SF just put names on shit. I grew up hunting. So SF told me, hey, I shot a deer. I'll just follow the blood trail. What do they call that? Tracking. You're going to teach me how to shoot a rifle. Okay, John, that's called mules. No, dude, that's Kentucky windage. Just hold that thing three ticks to the right or whatever. But then when I joined SF, they started putting names on it. And as far as like how it changed my life, I ain't going to say it necessarily changed my life because I've always been competitive. But what SF did for me was it put the same caliber people around me or better. So it pushed me to be more. Nobody had to tell me to go shoot on Saturdays. I mean, I first got the team. I was the worst pistol shooter in the company. That shit lasted about a week. And I was like, oh, hell no. So then I started shooting on my own. Because now, in that environment, everything is so damn competitive. And that's what ruins our home life too, because you leave the team room, you take that home with you, you're still as competitive. So I was competitive with my wife. Oh, you can put the kids beds at 9? I'm putting them in bed at 8:45. What, you gonna make pancakes? I'm gonna make pancakes with strawberries. And it was always, I'm gonna one-up you. And before you know it, she's like, hey, I'm not one of your fucking team guys. Why is everything in competition? And so in a way, SF is good in that way that you live on the edge. And then for me, it's just, for like the second part of your question, I would just say, for me, you learn how to take life for granted, because we've all put buddies on the back of a plane. We've all told, moms and dads and kids and their wives that, hey, he won't come back. He's gone. We've all toasted those guys. So for me, what SF did in my latter years, it was, hey, dude, you're not fucking invincible. Hey, that could have been you. And, you still don't fight scared, but you think about that shit. But as far as like how did it influence my life, I think that all started with where I grew up at Glenville Road. My mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, we were all competitive in my family. So that actually helped me going into SF. Like, shit, I'm right back at home. You better have thick skin. You do something wrong, we're going to ride your fucking ass about it. If you fuck something up, we're going to ride your ass about it. And if you're the last one, you better fix that shit quick. And so I just think just being in that operational environment, like you guys just said, you take ownership of your story, but also everybody has their own unique DNA. So I'm not going to tell somebody, hey, own your story like I own mine, because I look at myself as having a great childhood. I had great parents. Then I had a great military career. So, it's like I owned all that, but I also took initiative to have all that. Just like you guys that are talking about your business ideas and your business plan, I'm in shock and awe. Like, damn, dude, I got to up my motherfucking game. I ain't even got a fucking calendar. And being over here talking to CEOs, I'm like, fuck, dude, I talked to the guy at the 7-Eleven the other day, gave him $5. I felt good.
I'm not running 280 miles, I'll tell you that much.
Hey, Johnny, don't worry about it. We all in the same boat. That's Captain America. Come on here. We all feel small.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like, hey, and then I got Jake over there reading this shit. I'm like, hey, what are the pictures? Nate come on, he's smart as fuck. And Jake doing this thing. I'm like, yeah, Johnny got to ante up. You know what I mean?
Hey, we get some cows. You be right on it.
Hey, that's the entire purpose behind this podcast is to bring people in, and then we all have something to bring, and we all elevate each other.
That's it.
So, welcome to the group, John. Jake.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it real simple. Y'all know I had my SF career was fucking awesome, and then it fucking exploded. And I just had a conversation with a dude. So there was a black officer that showed up at SEAL Team 8, and he said, "Man, I had a conversation with your guy," and he said, "Yeah." He told me, he said, "He fucked the shit out of you," and I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "But the real reason I failed because I didn't have mentorship." And so it's pretty much been the whole reason why I do what I do now, right? Why do I mentor? I just got a phone call from a young man that's in absolute peril in the military, right? And he did the absolute worst thing he could do. And now I done called a couple 06s in the Marine Corps, and now we got him some real help with some stars, but the damage is done, right? And I did that same damage 25 years ago, you know? So that mentorship piece that Nate said, like, in my opinion, like, if you ask me what I took for Special Forces, I'm going to say I had the same upbringing as Johnny. I got the Special Forces. I've been living Special Force lifestyle since I was fucking 8 years old, right? My dad had me chopping down trees in the neighbor's yard because they were blocking our view, middle of the fucking night, full cami paint on, fucking camouflage clothes on, telling me if I get caught, don't come home. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I knew what special operations was when I was a little kid. You know, same thing with Johnny and the hard work. But I'm going to tell you what I really took was that mentorship, man. Like, I didn't have it. I know it would have made all the difference. And you can't mentor yourself. You can't have the knowledge of somebody. Like, you think about this, man. Like, you think about all 5 of us talking to some fucking O2 right now who's getting racially hazed in the SEAL teams. And what you would say to him, ain't none of us saying the shit that he's thinking in his head. Right? It just ain't. Like, all of us got too much knowledge, got too much wisdom. We've seen it play out too many times. Hey, motherfucker, I want you to think about this. And then it's like, oh, shit, I never thought about that, right? And because I know for me, man, I spent 9 months in my own head, right? Like 9 months reading fucking Edie DuBose and fucking Malcolm X. And like, dog, it just made it worse, right? Like, I turned into a fucking goddamn monster and shit, right? And I never forget it. I went home Thanksgiving, man, and my boy that I grew up wrestling with and everything, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? I said, you got no idea what I'm going through. He said, I don't know what you fucking going through, but you better get the fuck out the Navy because it's killing you. You fixing to hurt some people. And then I was like, I kind of took a step back and was like, fuck. But I didn't have nobody helping me from a mentorship role. So I'm going to say mentorship. And then I'm going to say that's pretty much why I do what I do now in helping so many people, because I don't want nobody to have the experience I had when I was in the best job in the world. Okay. I was in the best job in the world for Jake Swig, be an officer in the SEAL teams and fucking run a bunch of government gangster. It was the best job in the world for me. Okay. And now coaching football was second best, but it still wasn't as good as fucking being able to jump out of planes, fucking run guns, dive, do all the other shit, and lead the best people in the world. So
I'm going to say one more thing on what Jake just said, too. And this is me speaking from third group. I grew up there. And I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot of mentorship. And Jay, you told me, Nate, you guys told me.
No.
In special operations, dude, there's no fucking mentorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The motherfucking run, he don't say, hey, dude, this is how I breathe. This is what I do for running. This is how I'm good at it. You just looked at him like, all right, let me try to figure that out. Because our biggest thing is just standing up saying, hey, dude, I remember I never stood up and said, hey, dude, I don't know how to shoot a pistol. What the fuck am I doing? You know what I did? I bought a shit ton of ammo. I went home on the weekend. I learned on my fucking own. Nobody showed me shit, but nobody pulled me aside and said, hey, man, your grip's jacked up. Hey, dude, you're doing this. Hey, dude, you're doing that. How many times do we get that as soft guys? You don't.
We don't.
We don't get that.
I got an interesting take on this, and I do agree with you. I think that's the norm. Except I had one guy. His name's Heath Poston. He's still one of my best friends. First group legend. 5-6 combat deployments. I spent 6 years on a team with this dude on 2 different ODAs. He took me under his wing when I was an E5 getting ready to go on my first combat deployment. I spent every fucking minute of every combat operation on 20 plus operations on an insanely kinetic operation where we all got multiple Valor Awards. There's silver stars involved, all this crazy shit. And he, for whatever reason, he decided this is the dude that I'm going to fucking keep alive and impart all that wisdom. Now, I was super fortunate and lucky in that. What did that mean for me? And like Jake is saying, I have a different route to what I took approach to leadership and a mentorship approach. I am so big on mentorship because I had one individual who like literally invested everything into me. And again, he didn't have to. He was an 18 Delta. I was an 18 Echo. He wasn't my fucking senior. I had no senior. I got to the team as an 18 Echo, as an E5, and I was the senior Echo, right? So like you guys know how that goes. But he did that. And so what did that mean for me? When I then became a senior E7, the most senior E7 on his ODA, when he eventually became a team sergeant, my entire focus was mentoring all the fucking young dudes on that team. That team became the #1 team in the entire battalion getting ready to go on the next rotation to Afghanistan because of that mentor leadership. So I 100% agree with you guys that it's extremely rare, but on the few chances you get a guy like Jake or you get a guy like Jay, I had that guy early in my career, and it changed my entire trajectory and my success in the military. Almost all of I had an insanely successful SF career. I attribute 90% of that to that one individual who decided I was worth that. So that's why I love what Jake does. That's why I love what Jay does. I don't have the time for it, but like that is what it's all about to me, is like giving back to that next generation. Because like you said, it only takes one dude, whether it be Jake or Jay, to invest in you that will change your entire trajectory. But I do agree with what you guys are saying. It's incredibly rare. Incredibly rare.
Totally agree with you, Nate. And you just triggered a quick thought. Two things really fast. Like one thing, I think it's so important to get outside expertise to help you. So no matter what you're doing, okay, if obviously if you're in a career like we've had, get an outside expert, someone that knows your business or something tangential to it, that's like, close to it, that can advise you and give you an objective look at what you're doing, how you're performing, isn't going to be afraid to tell you if you're doing good, you're doing bad, right? It's a coach, someone coaching you. Makes all the difference in the world. I wish at that time when I was really, really struggling and definitely getting results, but I was, like I said, I crushed depth very, very hard. I wish I had this outside expert saying, hey, I've done this before, do this now, do this. And it was like, I was at a bag on my head punching in a boxing match, right? It was, and then, you hit something, you're like, okay, I got it. I hit it some more, but you don't have any SA, no situational awareness. The next thing I'll say is that some of the best mentors I ever had, really, I would say a senior enlisted at each command level leading up, mentoring me as a young officer at all levels. Even when I was a battalion commander as well too, having, Sergeant Major come down and being like, hey, what's going on? And I knew, this conversation goes, well, here's what's going on. Yeah, there's a couple good ideas. I'd be like, shit, yeah, I'm going to do that. And, paying off big time. So never underestimate your ability to make change within like that. And then I had an amazing commander. Oh man, I tell you what, and was very, very tough, very, very hard. No shit, didn't play around, but he kept us alive and executed tactical patience, very shrewd. Ended up becoming, a 3-star general, recently retired, but General Smith, an absolute badass commander all the way around, and that taught me some very, very tough but very good lessons. And I'll tell you what, you felt like you were a freaking racehorse. You're in the chute when you were with that guy, because you could not mess up one way or other. You're gone. There's somebody in the stables waiting to take your spot. And so he ran a very, very tight organization. I learned a lot from that as well too. But yeah, I mean, leading up is very important. And also, if you're a leader, listen to those that have experience around you. As a military commander, I'm never going to have more operational time than the enlisted around me, the senior enlisted. You're a commander. That's your job. And so like if you're in charge of an organization in business right now, listen to those that have been there. And, you'll find out if what they have to say is something really good or not, but you got to listen. You got to be humble enough to take advice and take action on it. That's what I wanted to add.
Absolutely. And to defend third group and all the operational groups a little bit, one thing I realized, which led me to do what I'm doing now, is even when I was in the seat as, just a regular dude, even in a leadership role, we have so much shit going on that has to get done to where if someone doesn't come ask for mentorship, you're not going to volunteer.
You think they know it?
My team sergeant as a team sergeant, I had so much shit going on to where I didn't have time to mentor my senior guys to an extent, right? Because as a senior, I expected him to know his job in and out, and I expect him to mentor his junior. But there's other type of mentorship that guy needed that I could have give that I didn't have the time to do, right? But to Ben's point, you can reach out outside that unit, outside that entity, and get a retired sergeant major, get a former team sergeant. They would be more than fucking happy to help you, right? But you got to ask, right? And we do a shitty job at asking, right? You got to go ask and say, hey, man, can you mentor me? All right. And that right there is a hard thing to do for guys, right? Because of that ego, right? Hey, like, I'm a team sergeant. I'm supposed to know it all. Now I'm going out to a retired sergeant major and asking for mentorship. Guys are going to get in their heads about that, right? So if you're watching this and you need mentorship, make sure you ask for it, and guys will be more than happy to fucking help you out. So
you know what
I
I
would
want to
just
say
add
too,
that
like
to
Tom Brady every summer had throwing coaches. He had QB read coaches, and you can find these guys. But one of my good buddies actually was a coach on staff at the Patriots for years. You know, he's got a bunch of Super Bowl rings, all those things. He'd go and he'd have, these throwing coaches, some of them pretty famous, usually Major League Baseball type guys that would just teach him new techniques. But then as far as making his reads and everything, so if this guy is the number one in the world at what he does, is seeking outside his organization an expert to give him that extra edge, I mean, we probably all can take a page from that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
one addition to that, what Ben just said, is I talked about all that amazing mentorship I had, but I never stopped seeking it. So even when I think I was 7.5, 8 years on a team, senior leader, main element leader of the ODA that was the number one ranked ODA after validation to go on the next rotation to Afghanistan, based off of me as the element leader for that validation exercise, I was still seeking advice, mentorship from those dudes above me, another level up, those sergeant majors, dudes that could potentially keep elevating me to that next level. So that's what I want you guys to know is like, you're never done learning, man. There's no matter what position you're at in your career, whether it be a sergeant major or a commander, I'm sure Ben knows, whether you're a major, you get into colonel, like there's still, you have a lot to learn, right? So never, it's like that self-improvement. Never stop seeking that mentorship. I mean, I get mentored by these guys right here, right? So that's an important distinction of like, you never know it all. No matter how
Absolutely
successful
not.
you become, you got to keep at it.
Absolutely. All right. We'll transition into emerging technologies. All right. I'm curious as for what's out there, especially since we just talked about the Navy shooting down the F-18. We just talked about Russia fucking allegedly shooting down that plane. Ben, when it comes to emerging technologies, what should we and the audience be keeping an eye out for?
I mean, I think I saw a comment in the chat there about that was an algorithm, and that's why we can't trust AI. And there's probably some truth to that as well, or something to investigate at least, and see. But I mean, I think what we need to know is that really more and more autonomous systems, drones, robots are getting on the battlefield. Ukraine fielded an all-robot combat unit that did some serious damage to the Russians. Yeah, this is like latest greatest. So there are companies out there fielding this technology. Drones are gaining more and more. They're going closer and closer to autonomous systems, which was something that Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, number of big scientists had really cautioned about. And we're trying to get ahead of that with legislation and best practices across the world for what is allowable. Because I think the big concern is that we create these drone swarms and some warlord in Africa gets their hands on it, or some warlord anywhere, but in a lawless state gets their hands on these, just unleashes them and creates genocide. So that's a concern, not to paint the negative picture. Now on the other side, there's a lot of good stuff coming up. AI is discovering new drug compounds for gene therapy. One of the most interesting things for me that I found was that they're creating these artificial neural cells that can actually, that are powered with AI and designed with AI, that can interface with our natural cells. So human machine interface is happening. I know Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency has a bunch of things out there where someone's a quadriplegic, can move these robot arms and actually have a functional life from that. So they've got that going on right now. But again, this is all powered by this emerging technology. Some of it's AI, some of it's biotechnology, things like that. Breakthroughs in quantum computing as well too. I guess the Willow chip from Google, if anyone's seen this or heard about this, but the Willow chip solved this standard computational problem that they judge supercomputers by, solved it in 5 minutes. It takes a supercomputer. It said it would take a supercomputer. It's like 10 septillion years. That's I guess a word. So like unbelievable amount of time, like beyond our lifetimes, well beyond it, years and years, well beyond it, but it solved it in 5 minutes. So quantum computing is something that's out there that's going to help us to solve a lot more problems a lot faster right now. Also on the battlefield too, robot dogs. That's something being fielded more and more.
Damn.
And with armed dogs doing reconnaissance and also, banging doors, things like that. So if you picture like a drone dog combo for F-3 AED, that's for any type of direct action or processing a target, that's a lot more survivable than people, right? Now decision making, we have to see what happens on the target site, right? But if we're in like a Fallujah, a 2004 Fallujah environment, those dogs might be pretty damn good. And also too, they got something this human, what's the hyper operator system that's coming out, or what's it called? Hyper enabled operator. Okay. So this is something now that's going to enhance the cognitive abilities of the operators within SOCOM to have more situational awareness, totally connect to the sensors, and allow us to win more on the battlefield and beat the enemy in the cognitive domain. So making faster decisions, being hyper aware, access to more lethal technologies, whether that's a drone or the robots, things like that. And they're doing that as well too, hooking that up with aircraft out there with these drone swarms. So a lot of stuff is coming out in longevity as well too. The AI is doing a great job of discovering new cures for diseases, new gene therapies, things like that. So what I always say is make sure you're taking care of yourselves out there, because there's a lot of literature and a lot of research being done today that says in the near future, the longer you can stay alive, for like every year you can stay alive, medical technology is going to keep you alive for a year. Okay. So human lifespan and health span, where you're actually, functional, not just alive, but you're actually functional, enjoying your life, is going to go, well beyond what it is now within the next 50 to 100 years. So take care of yourselves, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out there. And that's just scratching the surface without me speaking or doing a whole podcast for an hour on it.
Now, how do you guys think the robots, the military robots, as far as fighting age robots and the dogs, are going to affect the battlefield? Like, so are they being controlled remotely? Is it like a Neuralink situation? Like, how are they being controlled?
That's the thing, is it's autonomous. So, and that's why I was bringing up that concern, the big white paper that Stephen Hawking, before he passed away, Elon Musk, a number of other leading scientists signed, saying that if we take humans out of the do loop, right, out of the kill loop, right, the kill chain, that's where they're getting to. But they're getting closer and closer to where they're all but pulling the trigger themselves. So they're processing, identifying, IFF on their own, with whether it's facial recognition, silhouette recognition, all these things. And I'm not even doing it justice right now, but there still has to be a human in the loop. At some point, what the concern is if it's completely autonomous and humans are no longer in the kill chain, then that's when it can get to be like Terminator, is what they're saying. That could be, that could be the greatest challenge to humanity that we know. And then I don't like that dark kind of dystopian vision of it, but I think we do have to be aware of it, because if someone gets a hold of that, they can use it for their own devices. That would be very, very dangerous. So,
yeah, it's just crazy that we're at this point. It's like, I remember watching Universal Soldier and Solo and all these different movies, and Terminator, and now it's like, oh, this is a reality. It's definitely interesting. We'll see where it goes, but appreciate the update on that, Ben.
Yeah, for sure.
Quick, hey, question in the chat. I thought it was interesting. Why don't you and I have watches on? I know,
dude, I can't stand fucking watches. Can't stand them.
So I'm gonna answer the question, because I didn't realize everybody don't have a watch on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, when I got out of the
none
SEAL
of us
teams,
do.
I was addicted to a watch. Okay, Ben has one on. Okay,
and it's an Apple Watch. They know where
Typical
I am.
Fucking officer.
I was just a guy briefing tech, right? So here I am.
Hey, the one thing that you can never get back is time on target.
Mm-hmm.
And so you, as an officer in the SEAL teams, time moves differently at different times in operation. And if you didn't check your watch every 15 seconds, 4 minutes would go by and you'd miss something. Okay. And so when I got out, I had a watch and I found myself checking the watch every 15 fucking seconds. Like in the middle of business school, I'm checking my fucking watch. And I said, I can't do it no more, man. So I haven't worn a watch since the SEAL teams. Now I have a nice tag watch that I have. It's been broke for 20 years and I don't plan on fixing it.
Jake, I've never worn a watch my entire life, including my entire SF career.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I don't know how you did that. How the fuck? What about time on target? Like you ain't worried about
somebody else is yelling at him.
I got fucking ATAC phones. I got radios. I got fucking everything that shows me fucking what time it is, man. I don't need it on my wrist.
Gotcha.
Well, maybe in the Q course. Probably in the Q course, like in land nav and some shit like that.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of watches, man. I like when I was going through training, I had them on. When I was downrange, I had them on because iPhones and smartphones weren't a thing. So I had them on for that purpose. But with the fucking phone, like if I need to know what time it is, I just grab my phone and check the phone. Like I've just never been a fan of watches. So I hope that answered the individual's question in the chat. But all right, guys, we'll knock out this next topic and then we'll go back to enjoying the holidays, right? So this one is one that's near and dear to everyone's heart because we've all experienced them at one point in time, and that's going to be topic of suicide, right? So I have two different articles here as it relates to suicide. Like I was talking to Johnny earlier, we had the team sergeant from 3rd Group from our former team 3112 that took his life on the 10th of December. All right. So 3rd Group is dealing with it right now. And I'm sure we know people that's been dealing with it on and off, right? So many military members do not seek mental health service because they don't think that the care will remain private, right? So that's a concern. And I'm not gonna lie, that's a fucking concern I had when I was in, right? Is you go see the doc, and I can't speak for you guys, but after every deployment, we would go through, I can't remember what the name for that thing is. So 2 weeks of R3 where we recover and talk to all these docs and like 2 weeks of it. And everybody, at least for me, lied on everything. Do you have any mental problem, concussions? Nope. Because if you answer yes, there's got to be follow on and follow on and follow on. So for me, I just lied on everything, right? But there was a big concern that if you raise your hand and say, hey, I'm mentally fucked up, there's going to be repercussions. All right. So a lot of guys, I'm not going to talk for guys, but I personally didn't do that. Right. And that is still a concern based on a survey that was done by RAND that stated that a lot of military soldiers are choosing not to go get help because they are afraid that it will not be private and that information is going to be shared and there'll be repercussions from it. Right. So along the same line, so that's one article. The other one states that despite a major push by the military and the Department of Defense to address and reduce suicide among former service members in 2022, the number of veteran suicide that year did not drop. All right. So in 2022, 6,407 veterans took their own life. Right. In 2021, it was 6,404 soldiers took their own life, right? As you guys are hearing these stories, and we can talk about the privacy piece first, and then we'll talk about what's actually going on. Ben, when you hear this as a former commander, do you have any experience with this as far as the privacy aspect of this? And how would you talk to your guys about it? Because I'm sure you have some type of experience in it.
The privacy aspect of mental health and knowing about what someone's mental health.
No, guys going to get help and how that might affect their.
I was reading the article before.
Sure.
I think I would just say this. Okay, a great point that was actually in that I saw recently. I agree with it. Is that if you're asking for help, if you're getting help on your own, right? You're seeking help. let's say your mentor is telling you, your brothers in the teams, right? Your brothers and sisters in the service, people are saying, hey man, you might want to get help. And you feel like you should. This isn't going to hurt you. Getting help's not going to hurt you. When it's command directed, okay, I won't say it'll hurt you. I won't say that'll hurt you. I won't say that. But, obviously, what did you do to make it command directed, right? Usually there's something going on. That's what I would say. But anytime you're seeking self-help, like, you're coming back from deployment and they're doing, you're going through your post-deployment decompression, all these different things like that, third location decompression, whatever it is, whatever the programs are they're doing today. And you decide, hey, I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to self-identify here and just say, hey, I need to get help. I want to talk to somebody. I would do it. If you're feeling anything, do it. I don't think it's going to be an issue for you at all. We encourage that, just like working out, just like anything else. You're taking care of mind, body, spirit, that whole thing. And again, if it's command direct, they're saying you are going to go and do this. Something may have happened. Like I can tell you one time, one of my instructors, I mentioned it before, I'm trying not to go in some of the darker stories, right? But this isn't a great story, but he punched out one of the students. The student was punking him off. This guy was, just came back from Fallujah, was getting the instructor pipeline, had students in front of him. Some kid popped off to him. I say, kid, he's a young Marine, 18. This was a battle-hardened sergeant, right? Infantry squad leader, and now in recon team leader as well, assistant team leader. Punched the kid, knocked him out, right? He came in my office fully ready to be destroyed. I'm like, you're going to see the wizard, right? You're going to see the psych right now. We got to see what the hell's going on with you. And so he went, and again, it all worked out for him in the end. But that was command directed. Okay, just giving you a story there. So I think again, it's not going to affect you if you're going to get help on your own. This is for the military, and I think civilian wise, I can't tell you how many people I know that are very successful that regularly talk to a psychologist, psychiatrist. And, sometimes they're unwinding complex things. Sometimes they're talking about confidential things they don't want anyone to know about. And it could be a business related thing, business related stress, maybe a lack of confidence. Maybe they're worried, someone's trying to gain major investment for their new business. And they're going into these places where there's some big bangers in there, right? Some billionaires, things like that. Just giving you some stories, right? So, and maybe they start to feel a lack of confidence. They feel they're being pushed away. They don't know why. So this confidence can screw them up for their business, because one thing is that in venture capital, investors will smell a lack of confidence. They will smell insecurity on you, and they will steer away from you. Okay. That goes for anything. So use these two examples for anything you're doing, just to show you, sometimes it's good just to talk to somebody, and it's not going to, in military wise, I think again, if you're self-identifying, seeking self-help, I can't say it's ever going to hurt you. Right. I mean, and that's what I would say.
Ben, I want to jump in because you're coming from the officer route. I'm coming from the NCO route. And what you said almost is true. However, we need to have some caveats, because that's not necessarily true. Okay. When we say anytime you seek self-help, it'll never hurt you. The way that you do it, the reporting system has to be adhered to. And I want everybody to understand this very clearly. If you seek self-help through the proper channels, it will never come back to harm you. Which I mean is, if you are suffering from drug addiction or anything like that, and you go through the proper channels to report that and get self-help, you are fine. Same for PTSD or all these issues. If you go to your company sergeant major or your company commander and tell him, sir, I'm struggling with fucking coke addiction or heroin addiction, let me be very clear. That officer, and I'm saying this because I watched it happen to one of my friends.
Yeah.
If that officer decides, I don't give a shit about my fucking soldiers, I'm going to burn this motherfucker to the ground because he's potentially making the unit look bad because you didn't go through the right channels to report that, you will get kicked out of the fucking military for that.
Totally agree with this. Totally agree.
So I 100% agree. And this is me. I sought help myself. I did it. And yes, no one is ever going, like, seek your psychologist. Nobody is ever going to hit you for that, even if it's command directed. But do it through, there are correct channels to do this, and you have to be hyper aware that you do it. Most leaders 100% are going to have your back, get you to the right channels. I watched one of my close friends self-report a drug addiction, and he got absolutely dicked down by the battalion commander while the company commander who sent it up tried to protect him. Dude was just the way it was. burned him, kicked him out of the fucking military, pulled his tab. Okay. For self-reporting and drug addiction. So this is where that NCO officer divide. Most officers would never do that to you. Ben wouldn't do that to you, but there are situations where this can happen. So yes, if you need help, I promise you, you will not get hammered for it, but you have to do it through the correct reporting system. That's all I want to say on that.
Johnny?
Just to touch on suicides real quick, like Jay said, we just had a guy from third group commit suicide that me and both knew. I'll say this. I think the biggest problem with SOF or in general military is we're all like-minded. Like if we put all 5 of us in a different room, we got the same fucking answers for the most part. So our whole careers, we're around the same guys. So our normal now is everybody else's normal. Just like I talk to people like, how much sleep you get? I'm like, I sleep 3-4 hours. Then they gave me this fucking Oura ring because they want to monitor sleep for this run we're doing. And they're like, hey, dude, you're not getting enough sleep. I'm like, what do you mean? I slept good last night. I slept 3 to 4 hours. But then your average person sleeps 8 hours. If I ask each one of you fuckers how much y'all sleep, it's probably going to be about as much as I sleep. But we can function on that, and we function well on that. So our biggest problem is once we go through our careers where we've been around the room or in the same vicinity of the same guys with the same issues, it becomes our norm. So once we get out, our norm is like, hey, dude, even in my own house, I check my door twice, 3 times a day, 3 times a night. If I'm going to the bathroom, get something to drink, take a piss, I'm going to check my door. Why? I just checked the last, but why are you doing that? It's just a habit. Just like the best sleep we ever got. When? Fucking deployment. Why? Because everybody sleeping in that room. You know if something goes down, they got your back. So now you can actually close your eyes and rest. But when you're at home with your wife and kids, guess what you got to do? You got to look at wife and kid, even though you're in a safe environment. So we get used to that. So I think, or what I would recommend is guys coming in SOF, coming in the military in general, where's our fucking baseline at? Let's get a baseline on a guy when he first comes in. Just like me, I've been blown up 5 times. When I first joined the Army, I had almost a fucking photographic memory. Right now, I can't remember where the hell I put my keys at. But ID after ID after ID, then I go to the doctors like, hey, doc, I'm forgetting shit. Then I take a little test that they give me. They're like, oh, your memory's great. Well, yeah, doc, it's great to you because I was here when I first started. Now I'm down here where normal people are. No, it's not. So guess what that's going to do? That's going to cause other issues in other areas. Whereas I forget something or lose something, now I'm pissed off at somebody for no reason. And so what I'd recommend to guys coming to the Army now, whether any of the armed forces or any job in period, get a baseline on that guy or girl when they first come in. And then every quarter, every year or two, just give them a test on that baseline, see where they're at. And now we can kind of monitor because like I think it was Nate just said, we go in there and just like Jay said, we used to have bets in third group, and Jay remember this. Let's see who can make the shrink tell us his problems. That was our bet going to talk to the doc. Am I lying, Jay?
Yeah.
And let's see how good my fucking skills are if I can go in there and be like, hey, dude, the doc's having all kind of problems with his fucking wife right now. And you're like, that's fucked up. And now the next guy, he's going in like, hey, dude, doc's having a problem with his wife. Now they're going to church. So the next guy going in there like, hey, doc, so what church y'all going to? And the doc's like, oh, we're going here. Like, oh, we go here, man. You should try this one. Now you go a whole 45-minute session helping the doc with his problems. And you can help shit on yours. Am I lying, Jay?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we just got to figure out how, and I think it's purpose. I think guys are losing purpose. You think about it. When I first got out of SF, dude, I lost my family because I had no fucking purpose. I'm Johnny motherfucking Glenn. I can do anything. But now you mean to tell me I wake up in the morning, I'm like, holy shit, what am I going to do with myself? Well, I'm going to go get a job. All right, I'm going to go get a job. Now I'm sitting around people that they're eating all fucking day. They're lazy. They're not doing shit. And it's like, what the fuck have I got myself into? And now guys usually turn to booze, drugs, or whatever. They find something that can kind of take that edge off. Just like I heard somebody say earlier, our best leadership when bullets are flying. Why? Because that's our fucking norm. That's easy to us. But you tell me I got to take my kids to school, pick them up, and then drop them off at dance. Dude, I'm all fucked up. I'm at the red light like holy fuck, I'm going to be late. And it's like, all right, dude, you just going to dance. You know what I mean? So now we just got to figure out where guys, when they retire, what's their purpose now? We do a shitty job about that. I mean, we do a shitty job of taking care of our own, reaching out to guys, just calling the guys. Just like how many guys in SOF say, hey, I love you, brother. You very seldom fucking hear that. Yeah. And guys need to hear that, you know, but we don't do that. So we're hurting our own just by guys retiring and getting out. They have no purpose now. They're not in charge of nothing anymore. They don't have no more excitement because our excitement was waiting to that 180 plus. And then you're down to 90 plus. Then you're down to 30 plus. And you're arguing with the wife. And you're like, all I got is 3 more weeks. Put her on her ass for 3 more weeks and I'm out the door. And you couldn't wait to leave. And then you count down the days, like I'll be home in 4 days. You're like, fuck, you're laying and you're like, man, you got to be shitting me. Now you got to cut grass, not a dog. You got to walk the dog. You got to fix a honey-do list. And it just piles up on, and it's simple shit. But we just can't figure out what's our purpose now? And that's why like Jay and what these guys are doing, like me, I'm with Team Red, White, and Blue, and I think they're doing an excellent job of veterans, just finding that purpose and help with mental health. So for me, it's mental, physical, and emotional. So my new thing is moving positive energy is what I say now for mental, physical, and emotional health. So it's moving positive energy. So what I tell veterans now is just find something that drives you, dude. Like me, I'm driven by people. I'm driven by my farm. I'm driven by taking care of animals. I'm driven by watching you guys be successful. You know what I mean? Like that drives me. So that pushes me to want to do more. So until we figure out what drives people and we know what drives people, then we're going to continue to fail. Because if I can go in there and talk to a shrink and figure out his problems, he ain't helping me not one fucking bit.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
Johnny,
What's that, bro?
I'm over here crying, bro, because I'm about to tell y'all something, okay?
Tell him. Let it go, bro.
So
I love you before you even tell me. I'm finna get comfy.
2018, man, me and the wife, let me say this. She was in a good place. I was in some rocky roads. So we decided to go to marriage counseling. Okay. And
But she decided, you just went with her.
No, I was good.
That's good.
I got the best wife in the world. I follow my wife because she awesome. Okay.
That's good, brother.
We had this fine ass marriage counselor lady in her early 60s. And my whole mission every time we went was to get her to squirm in her seat and turn her out. And I'll be damned. I went 5 times. That lady was just like, oh my God, this motherfucking here's telling me stories I can't handle. And I just feel good to know that someone else went to the counselor and their whole mission was to turn the counselor out. I just feel good.
But long as it worked, bro. Long as it worked, because you had a purpose.
I had a purpose. I turned her out, man. Shit. I walked out of there. She was like, yo, this is God. Oh my God. I can't talk. Oh man. I would walk in the room at the end. She was like, oh, what am I going to hear today?
Hey, I just want to add what Johnny said about purpose, man. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. I love hearing you say that, Johnny, because that's everything to me, man.
Yeah.
I say this all the time. If I don't have a purpose, I circle the drain, homie. It's fucking straight until 100%. All the most negative shit that fucking possibly could exist. The PTSD comes out, everything comes out. But if I have that purpose, it's fucking gone, man. I'm going. 100 miles an hour doesn't mean it doesn't matter if I'm twice as busy as I was when I was active duty. That purpose, we talked about it, I think, on the last episode, like how to find that purpose and all that. But like, I think it for men, young men, middle-aged men, old men, whatever that purpose is, 1,000 different things. It is the number one most important thing to a man, in my opinion. So
amen to that. And I want to add one layer onto all this as we're building something together here, all of us together. You know, with that purpose, create a vision. I'm going to tell you, the Bible says right there, people without vision shall perish, right?
Yes,
so you've got to have a vision. I've been at my worst point in my life, my worst points. Give a big talk about it. New York City, about 400 people, two keynotes about this, but, revealing a lot of stuff that I'm not going to talk about here in the podcast right now. But at some point I will talk about some of the things, but, my worst points ever, because I lost my vision. And when you connect that vision to this purpose that these two badass warriors are talking about, I mean, you're gonna be set, and it's got to be something that's compelling, exciting, and moves you. And bet on you, bet on yourself. Have a vision of what you want your life to be, near term, far term, and then lace that, weave that purpose into it. Lace it through it, tie it to it, and man, you will have every day lighting on fire. And you just get after it. But when you lose that vision, you lose that purpose. Tell you what, it's just exactly what you were saying, John, Nate, same thing. I mean, that you start wanting to dull some things a little bit with some substance abuse. You start wanting to, letting the demons creep up, chase after you, and the demons grab a hold of your shoulder, coming up from behind you, and they want to pull you down and pull you back, so you can't let that. But when you got that vision, you got that purpose, you're going to be freaking going so fast, so strong, nothing can hold you back. So I can't say enough about that, what you guys were just saying, and tie that vision and purpose together.
Absolutely. Write that shit down, man. And if you're in the business world, you know all about vision boards, right? Write it down. That's what I had to do. So I see it every time I walk into my studio. I hear it in the morning when I listen to my affirmations, like just so you hear it over and over again, and it'll remind you when you find yourself slipping, right? So if you need to, write it down. Jake, a lot of people are asking about David Goggins getting the Medal of Honor. What's going on there?
so let me say this.
Jake's been snorting that snow, brother.
Reach out to me for the brain PDF. It'll fix all your PTSD problems. Johnny, you don't know nothing about it. I'll get your email. I'll send it to you. You do some oxygen treatment, some red light treatment, your fucking brain will come back. You just got to repair your brain. Your oxygen levels aren't high enough in your body right now. We can get that shit fixed. It's kind of crazy. No one believed me, but then they get on this shit. They're like, holy fuck, okay? All simple fuck over-the-counter shit. All right, so yeah, David Goggins winning the Medal of Honor, man. It's only the second time in the history of fucking America that we had a video evidence of the Medal of Honor. Motherfucker got 2 Navy crosses, jumping out of an airplane, stealing another plane. He threw over 100 grenades, used like 18 different weapons. First pitchfork kill since Battle of the Bulge, all right? And he got 2 saw blade kills, and then he followed it up with an amputation with a machete, bruh. Dog, you ain't never seen nothing. Go over to my channel. It's on there. David Goggins getting the Medal of Honor at the end of January from
David Goggins looks a lot more like me than he did David Goggins in that video, though. Jim.
Hey, no, it's okay. Don't worry about that. It was that grainy CCTV, right? Yeah, that's all it was, bro.
Only from one seal to another. I love this.
The chromatic was a little off. That's all it was.
Hey, Jake, I got a question since you brought up David Goggins, because I don't even know the guy. We'll ever meet the guy. I don't know him. I don't have nothing against him because he gets people off the couch. But has he ever been to combat, though?
So, dog, listen, I don't understand. So here we'll talk about this real quick, Johnny, okay?
I'm just curious.
So when he came out, he's got 2 combat deployments, 2, okay? I know a lot of people that work with him. He has a trait that I'm not going to talk bad about the man. Man making $40 million a year. I give 2 fucks, right? Like we have a very toxic community. The SEAL community is toxic. He got 2 combat deployments. Here's what happened, okay? He got fucked up and had a whole bunch of surgeries after a deployment, okay? He really couldn't do too much. So they put him in the recruiting command. That motherfucker started running 100-mile races, okay? It was good for recruiting. He was doing recruiting. He was killing it. But all the war fighters saw him sitting on the sidelines, okay? So then they got pissed off. So then all this bullshit around David Goggins started with 2 Dev Group SEALs who went into the Reddit community and just fucking disparaged his name for fucking 2 years. None of it's true. Like, the motherfucker got a combat action ribbon. Like, he got fucking, like, he went on 2 combat deployments. Like, I don't know if he was fucking the killer, but I know he went down range. Yeah.
Jake, I think it's important to notice, like, David Goggins doesn't say that he's any fucking war hero. Like, he never is ever. Like, so that's my thing. It's like, I don't give a fuck if he's got any combat or not, because he's not in the media like pretending to be some fucking war hero like somebody else we know, right? Like, he doesn't say like that's not what his content is about. So like the fact that I didn't know that. I thought he had no combat. So the fact he's got 2 combat rotations and he never fucking talks about it, to me is like, good on the dude, man. Like, he's in his own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would have done his job if he was in the right spot, you know. I mean, that's how it is sometimes. So.
Yeah, and you know, like, I'm gonna tell you this, Johnny, they hating Jocko right now. Like, Jocko got one of the fucking dirtiest, nastiest careers.
You know who Jocko's biggest defender is? A goddamn Green Beret named Valhalla VFT, bro. Ain't no Navy SEAls defending that motherfucker.
No, they just listen.
Look at Jay.
Johnny, the community is so toxic, bro.
I know.
It's just toxic, bro. Like, I tell motherfuckers, right? Like, I have made so many motherfuckers, and they still mad at me because I filed a grievance in 2001, right? And I'm like, well, you be mad at me all you want, because I got an insurgency in the SEAL teams right now, so I don't give a fuck what you do. You can't stop what I got going on, right? But then you go over to the Army, I made 80 officers in the last year. Them motherfuckers like, goddamn, you killing it for us. I'm like, yeah, no shit, bro. Like, it's just the toxicity of the SEAL teams, you know, the competitive nature. And I'm going to say this. The youngness of the SEAL teams leads to a lot of bitchery. Like, the SEAL teams is so young demographically, they don't have mature thoughts, and they get pissy because somebody's doing better than they are, right? Like, it's fucking stupid. But yeah, David Goggins, fuck. I don't give a fuck what he's doing. Motherfucker making $30 million a year, Johnny. I don't give a fuck.
He's doing something, right?
Yeah, you know, like, them motherfuckers hate me because I fucking open my mouth. You know, I'm like, hey, motherfucker, the Marine Corps is racist. I know Ben don't like to hear that shit, but it is. And if you want something to talk about, this one I got right now is real as fuck because this is the third time it's happened in the last year and a half in the same training command. And so I'm like, but I don't get me started because I don't want to bag on the Marine Corps.
Your video was killing me, by the way.
I don't want to get shot.
I got to see this video, man. I got to see this thing.
It's good.
Because, hey, David Goggins making $40 million a year. I'm just trying to get a fucking EBT card. Somebody help me out. You know what I mean? Like, damn.
And you know what they say? Success is the greatest revenge, right?
That's a fact.
Yes,
Let's just go out there and get successful.
Amen.
But, all right, well, I appreciate you guys, man. Any last words going around? Anybody have anything else to say before we punch out of here?
For all you guys, man. I'm grateful to be here. Great for all
Same
of you guys.
here.
I appreciate you.
Thank
you to everybody
Hey,
watching.
I want to say I love all five of you. I just met Johnny, but
Absolutely.
I know Johnny because his fuck crazy shit on Green Beret Chronicles, man. I just want to tell you, man, like we fixing to go places. We're gonna go places together. We're gonna do good things.
Let's do it.
And fucking we're gonna rock out. Hey, 2025, I'm about to lay this motherfucker down.
Let's do it. Hey, Jay, if you can, man, put us all in a group chat so we can stay in touch with each other, man.
Definitely, brother. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys enjoy the New Year's.
I appreciate you guys.
In the chat. Thank you guys.
I love you guys. Be
Appreciate
safe.
you guys tuning in. All right, take care, fellas.
Later.